natural ecosystem is both the source and sink.
प्रडक्ट बनाउने चाहिँ जहिले पनि कुराहरू गर्छ एन्ड द्याट्स वाट टट इन बिजनेस स्कुल्स एज वेल तर हाम्रो जुन यो प्रडक्ट साइकलको एन्डको कुरा भयो नि कसरी टु ब्रिङ इट ब्याक इन टु द सिस्टम दिस इज नट इन द करिकुलम एट अल के
त्यही त होइन प्लास्टिक त इट वाज एक्चुअली अ रेभोल्युसन के व्हेन इट वाज इन्भेन्टेड होइन त
अभियसली मान्छेहरूले गो ग्रिन भन्ने बित्तिकै सबै कुरा पेपरले बनाउन थाल्छ होइन हाउ ग्रिन इज पेपर
Of course, paper is not green. Yeah, that's a big misconception. Like, paper is not something. It's not a very good solution.
Also, do you not think it's also a generational thing?
आई थिङ्क यसमा चाहिँ के जस्तो लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ होइन हाम्रो भन्दा अगाडिको जेनेरेसन चाहिँ दे फिल लाइक वेन द प्रब्लम एक्चुली ह्यापन्स त्यति बेला दे नट गर्न बी आउट टु फेस इट अनि हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ वेन द प्रब्लम स्टार्ट्स टु ह्यापन विल काइन्ड अफ गेट बाई जस्तो हुन्छ तर फर द पिपल लाइक हाम्रो जेनजी हाम्रो दे सी अ इमिडिएट थ्रेट टु उनीहरूकै लाइक लाइफ टाइममा हुने थ्रेट देख्छ क्या आई थिङ्क द्याट्स वाइ दे लाइक सुपर कन्सियस अबाउट इट
बी माइन्डफुल अफ द चोइसेस यु मेक on the seed products and materials and say के हुन सक्छ भनेर I think that is just going to help us do the right thing.
Hi everyone, I'm Kritisha.
And I am Aditya.
And we'd like to welcome you all to Dhikichyau the podcast. This is episode 27. So in today's episode, as you might already guess, we are continuing our Let's Talk Economy series. And today we are talking about a disruptive concept which has been popular for quite some time across the globe actually. And to shed some light on that, we have Sadikchya Singh. Sadikchya Di, welcome to Dhikichyau the podcast.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone.
So Sadikchya Di, she is the coordinator of Himalayan Circular Economy Forum, which is a Nepal Economic Forum initiative to explore the concept of circular economy and contribute in paving a path towards sustainable societies in Nepal. As the coordinator, she has worked with sustainable and circular businesses, experts and practitioners all over Nepal, and she is currently leveraging the platform to analyze the current state and find improvement potentials with regard to inefficiencies in the country's waste management sector. So Sadikchya Di, welcome again. I'm like super thrilled to have you in our podcast. I think especially because you've been my mentor for the past 4 years. And I think, Sadikchya Di, you've always been so resourceful and also I think you have that innate quality of simplifying things and putting it in a, bite-sized thing which is like digestible for all. So circular economic barema, I think you might be the right person for us to, discuss about it.
Thank you so much. Oh, that was really, really sweet.
So let's just get into this, But before we get into the details of circular economy and what it is and everything that has to do with it, maybe we can start with your background. So tapai kasari you started working in this field and what keeps you motivated to keep going?
I am an environmental science and management student, so my bachelor's and master's say environment studies ma थियो. I briefly worked at Nepal Forum of Environmental Journalists. That's I was mainly looking at projects and making sure those environment projects are communicated well to people. Then I switched to Nepal Economic Forum. And Nepal Economic Forum, it was a very different thing I was doing. I was coordinating this annual event which brought environment and economy together. As much as discourses are open, I say after a few years, what we found out was maybe we could move on to something that is more actionable, like would produce more actionable outcomes. And so we started Himalayan Circular Economy Forum. To be very honest, malai circular economy concept and I only felt like, okay, economy, my environment, it should be there somewhere. But I didn't know that there was already an approach. So what we did was we tried and explored what this approach really means, because I think मान्छेहरुमा misconception पनि छ यो circular economy के हो भनेर, and also there's also this हुन्छ नि त्यो idea पनि धेरै छैन के, अनि त्यही भएर people don't see it as something that they can practically use, or people don't see it as something that could be possible. And त्यही भएर चाहिँ हाम्रो फर्स्ट 2019 when we started Himalayan Circular Economy Forum, it was all about exploring this concept in context of Nepal, होइन? And then 2020 because of the pandemic, we had a lull. तर now 2021 चाहिँ we really want to see like a circular economy भनेको ठुलो छ नि त होइन? There are different aspects. Of course, we're going to get into it maybe later on, but waste management is one of the most important aspects of circular economy. So अहिलेको लागि चाहिँ we want to focus on waste management. So that's how it all came about. Like initially it was just like for me a job that I was doing. I was of course like taking my career forward, but I felt that I was very, very strongly passionate about this approach because it was something that could work. Okay? So as an environmental science student or like आफ्नो field, we become linear. Okay? We think only in that particular aspect. So I felt like environment because I had that knowledge. I had seen the dire effects of environmental degradation. So I always felt like environment first. But that's not how real world works, right? So what I felt is circular economy could be that something that is possible, okay? That is something that could really not just be like an environment thing, but would really fuel the economy. I think I'm really like motivated to work and just continue working in this field because I really believe in it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds nice. So before we get into what circular economy is, that is still an idea which is yet to come into play, Nita. So currently bhairako चाहिँ it's called linear economy, I guess. Right? So it's called the take, make, waste economy approach. So do you want to touch a little bit on linear economy and then get to what's circular economy actually is?
Sure. So linear economy ma pani first जान्नु भन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ हैन like just getting into the basics of it, like what is our economy, what works for the economy. हाम्रो economy लाई fuel गर्ने main कुरा के हो त production हैन, production like let's say manufacturing of goods, manufacturing industries. त्यो production process लाई fulfill केले गर्छ त two things हैन, there are two aspects to it. First is raw materials which are required for the production industries, the manufacturing industries. तर त्यसको byproduct के हो त waste हैन. That's very simply, if economy लाई हामीले हेर्यो भने एकदम simple terms मा गर्ने हो भने that is the process of the economy हैन. And natural ecosystem ले त्यसलाई पुरा धानिरहेको छ नि त, is the foundation of economy because natural resources, natural ecosystem ले is both the source and sink, okay? Source of raw materials and sink of all the waste हैन. So त्यही भएर economy लाई धानिरहेको natural ecosystem हो. However, अब अहिले के भइरहेछ भने अहिलेको linear economy मा के भइरहेछ त, economic grow भइरहेछ. Economic grow हुनु भने के हो, production पनि grow हुनु, अनि त्यो भनेको के हो, waste पनि grow हुनु है. So linear economy मा के भइरहेछ त, we are extracting resources, we are making products, we are using it, we are disposing it, which is fine because the natural ecosystem the source is sink on the raw materials produce गरिरहेछ अनि sink पनि हो waste को. So we kind of feel like okay, all the waste is being assimilated somewhere in the natural ecosystem, and that's how linear ecosystem came about, हैन. So all of that is okay, like so that is what linear economy really is, हैन. You use the materials and you just dispose it because the natural system can kind of like like just absorb all the waste. So that's linear economy in simple terms.
So where did the idea of circular economy arise?
Yeah. So about linear economy was going on, हैन. Natural ecosystem ठुलो थियो, economy लाई धान्न सक्थ्यो. But what is happening now is more and more हाम्रो economy grow भइरहेछ हैन. So we need more and more raw materials for production, and in turn we're producing more and more waste. Now that's not sustainable. किनकि अब economy यस्तो grow भइसक्यो कि natural ecosystem लाई hamper गरिरहेछ के हैन. त्यही भएर चाहिँ यो जुन चाहिँ model छ, it's not sustainable for the long run. We have seen that. We have seen so many statistics that raw materials, especially like हाम्रो minerals, they're depleting, environmental is degrading. So हाम्रो जुन चाहिँ ecosystem बाट हामीले जुन चाहिँ resources लिन्थ्यो त्यो नै भएन भने त it's not going to be tenable for long, हैन. And in comes circular economy, okay? Circular economy भनेको basically यसको function चाहिँ is to limit the extraction of raw materials and limit the production of waste. How the कसरी भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ जुन चाहिँ waste materials, waste products जुन चाहिँ हामीले we just throw त्यसलाई फेरि सिस्टममा ल्याउने के त्यसलाई सिस्टममा ल्याएर we recover those materials and products in a systematic way over and over again. And that's how it makes like a full circle. And that's why it's called a circular economy. So that's where circular economy really came into about. Funny thing is, I felt like circular economy is a very new concept because I heard about it like just like let's say 2017, 18 minor. But this approach has been there for since 1960s, 70s. Okay? So origins are exactly China because there are so many schools of thought like people have and it's been used so many times. I know. So particular origin but 1960s to 1970s देखि भइरहेछ यो. So I feel like it's something that has been there for a really long time and has been practiced. So yeah, that's where circular economy really comes into play.
I think one of the things मलाई interesting लागेको चाहिँ circular economy को बारेमा how it gets to the root of the problem के. So I think मैले just like एक दुईवटा के भन्छ सोर्सेसहरुमा हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ most of them the example they gave was हुन्छ नि अब imagine your kitchen is like drowning because plumbing problems आयो हैन. So the first thing you're going to do is fix the tap from where the water is leaking, right? So I like the concept of how this tries to get to the root of the problem के. Like production नै like product नै एउटा design गर्ने बेला नै why can't we see waste as a design flaw भन्ने जुन चाहिँ आइडिया छ नि त्यो चाहिँ मलाई इन्ट्रेस्टिङ लागेको थियो के. So if you get to the root of it, if all the हुन्छ नि productsहरु अब suppose another example was light bulbsहरुको हैन, you don't buy the light bulb but you just lease the lighting भन्ने कुरा छ नि. So maybe त्यसमा पनि maybe you can add on some more.
So हाम्रो like we have always been people who have kind of own things, okay? So when we buy things, retail therapy because we feel like we own it, I know, and it gives us that kind of happiness because we have that ownership to that product. But after the product is done, like after all the enjoyment has been extracted from that particular product, then it has to, it just becomes waste, I know. You just throw it. You're not like even accountable to manage that waste. And that creates a problem, okay? So hamro jaile पनि thinking was ownership. But now if we move on to this model of really renting services, okay? I know, like तिमीले भन्यो नि lighting. Do not see light as bulb like something that I have भन्दा पनि lighting that just gives me like मैले lighting service पाइरहेछ भनेर. So Philips को model was I studied it briefly, I know, that they give you like the lighting bulbs and they come and repair it and they come and take it away and dispose it safely. So you don't have that kind of like ownership, you're just using the service and they're handling the parts, I know, they're handling the dispose the end of the life goes to stage, they're handling it. So that way you're just seeking services, you're not owning anything. The other example is something that is very popular in Nepal, Mani. Junse Patao services or Shuto services or Sani. We're not owning a vehicle, we're renting service, right? So Tulipani, I think that's something that, just to put things into perspective, I think that's also something that we've been practicing. Yeah.
Right, makes sense. Also, do you not think like poila bhanau न हिस्ट्रीमा scarcity धेरै थियो नि त, like अहिले जस्तो abundant मा सब कुरा थिएन नि त. So people were more likely to, circular economy was present जस्तो के. अब पहिला अब for example अब गाउँघरहरुमा हैन अब तरकारीहरु धेरै हुँदैन. So मुला हुन्छ नि, मुला खान्छ अनि त्यसको पातको पनि साग बनाएर खान्छ नि त. So that is because they have limited resources and they're trying to use it to the optimum level भनौं न. But then अहिले चाहिँ is like we have everything in abundance नि त. We have so much choice. So यो मन परेन भने म यो फाल्दिन्छु, I'll use something else भन्ने खाले concept पनि आछ नि. So do you sort of agree to that, like abundance ले गर्दा हाम्रो यो हुन्छ नि सर्कुलर इकोनोमी हुनुपर्ने लाइक त्यो निड आएको हो कि भन्ने कुरा के
Absolutely. त्यो एउटा एस्पेक्ट हो होइन बट आई वुड वान्ट टु लाइक गेट ब्याक इन टु द रुट्स अफ इट के अनि जुन चाहिँ वेमा प्र्याक्टिस भइरहेको थियो पहिला यु पुट इट भेरी नाइसली एन्ड हाउ इट इज बिङ प्र्याक्टिस नाउ सो सर्कुलर एन्ड जस्ट गोइङ ब्याक टु हुन्छ नि हाउ पिपल भ्यू इट के त्यहाँबाट गयो भने चाहिँ आई थिङ्क विल बी इजियर सो सर्कुलर इकोनोमीलाई चाहिँ हामीले जहिले पनि हेऱ्यौँ नि वी saw it as something, a concept for the economy. And it's natural because circular economy भन्ने term नै coin गरेछ नि त. So we think of it as an abstract concept. It's big, it's for the economy, I can't ever relate to it, होइन? Or something that हुन्छ it does not concern me, होइन? So that's how we viewed it अहिलेको current context मा. अब यो प्रब्लमले के गर्छ त त्यही it like makes us apathetic, we don't want to like हुन्छ we don't relate to it at all. But the very matter of fact is हुन्छ नि सर्कुलर इकोनोमीलाई यदि हामी सर्कुल्यारिटी भन्यो या सर्कुलर मात्रै टर्म लियौँ भने चाहिँ इट्स समथिङ द्याट वी क्यान अचिभ इट्स समथिङ द्याट वी आर डुइङ के इनफ्याक्ट अचिभिङ लाइक जुन चाहिँ पहिलाको भन्यो भने बिकज त्यति बेला निड नै थियो कि होइन लाइक यु सेड निड नै थियो द्याट यु ह्याड टु कन्जर्भ रिसोर्सेस एन्ड यु ह्याड टु वर्क इन ग्रुप्स यु ह्याड टु मेक स्योर एभ्री वान वाज फेड होइन But अहिलेको उसमा like you said there is abundant of choices and we don't really always make the nice good choices. But if we think of the practices that we've already been like concern is down to us. So I am the third child in my family. Like I have had so many things passed down onto me. Like as younger kids maybe Aditya would know maybe. But has been passed down onto us. There's so many things. So if you, in any point of your life, if you're reusing something, or if you're like going to, for example, you've broken a gadget, you know, or you've tore your shoes, you went to repair it. That's a simple act of you seeing value in that product. Okay? You're seeing value in that thing, and you're making that circle move. So, though that is something that we've already been doing. But yes, I like a context now because of the choices we have, because of the amount of consumption that has so heavily increased. Like there was this, I don't know, article or podcast I recently stumbled upon, which said that oil consumption that is almost 10 times, 15 times more than what a normal people would have consumed back, let's say 10, 15 years earlier. Okay. So this was the consumption ekdamai high and that is why we have so many choices and that's why it's not always we can't always make the right choices. Okay? So yeah, completely that's the case. But also that's something yeah.
म यसमा चाहिँ अब obviously like हामी personally at our homes on like आफ्नो levelमा we can like हुन्छ नि do what we can and हामीले recycle, reuse, like we can do all of that. But then the major chunk of the problem comes from industries and businesses, because like they're the big boys of the economy. They are the ones who are like gonna be the backbone, you know. So, about being a business student, I would always think about ways to maximize profit, you know. And the way, so my reuse when concept only maybe how do I sell more products? And if people are going to use मैले एकचोटि बेचेको कुरा for a longer period of time and they're going to pass it on, मेरो त sales कम हुने भयो नि त. That's the same reason Apple designs their product so that 2-3 years मा it like आफै decrease हुन्छ क्या उनीहरूको speed, like processing. They are designed like, it's not that they can't make phones that last longer, but they design it in a way that it so people after a certain period of time they have to change their phone and design. It's the same thing with I think there was this light bulb around 1940s Thomas Edison yeah, they had a whole light bulbs association that it could not last for hours they had invented a bulb that could last forever, but they did not sell it. Only like they made a cartel just to make bulbs that did not last forever. Okay, though they had the invention, though they had it in place, but then like, every bulb if I sell it, and it lasts forever. I'm not going to sell another bulb to the same guy again. That's going to hamper my sales भनेर. So how do we tell the businesses to, adopt this?
But it's so sad ke huncha ni like one part of the world is trying to really conserve and make sure that the resources are sustainable. There's one part like who's of course like focused on profit, and that's natural, like you said, as business people, it's very natural. तर यसमा कुरा चाहिँ के आउँछ भने हैन, यो प्रोडक्टलाई longer life दिनु is one aspect of circular economy. Of course, तिमीले प्रोडक्टलाई जति longer use गर्यो त्यति नै you have like हुन्छ नि, you understand its value, it gives you more value. Of course, the chain keeps running. But the other aspect it is not just reuse हैन, but यो जुन चाहिँ फोन हामीले use गर्छ, like you said, Apple हैन, if you could disintegrate it, okay? If you could disassemble it, and then you could like kind of like let's say plastic like separate kare, metals like separate kare, and all of these it's extracting a lot of materials need to make the to like ल्याउनको लागि the design गर्न लागि, manufacture गर्न लागि धेरै materials are used by us and resources are used by us. And so if we could just disassemble everything, and make sure that all of those disassemble भएको materials goes into some supply chain, some value chain, then it's being like they're in the system. And that way, if Apple or maybe like any other company or any other business for that matter sources the products that they use, then what they can do is they don't have to extract raw materials altogether again. They can use what they already have and then make another phones and then just refuel the economy. And it's not just something, of course there's logistical procedure for that, but that's really going to help them save money because they don't have to really scout for the virgin raw materials yet again, and that's a huge cost to them. Yeah. And so I think a lot of the new businesses, why are they going into the circular approach? Is not because they see value in the environment, they want to save the environment. Of course they don't want to. They see value because there is a revenue model that comes out of it. Okay? So it's kind of like an eye-opener for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. मलाई चाहिँ अब definitely like it's a great concept and it's something we desperately need. But then for a business, profit is always like the top 5 priority is always profit. And as long as I think we don't come up with a solution that like aligns with that, which gives them a profit model as well or good revenue model plus like making it sustainable. I think we have to find a common ground to move forward just like suruma when I figured out about like circular economy, it seemed so far-fetched to me because like this same because I grew up in a ekdamai business environment and I studied business, and so मेरो लागि चाहिँ दिमागमा it's always gonna त्यही नै आउँछ के दिमागमा.
So no, I mean that is very natural. I think that's very natural because हाम्रो यो अब हुन्छ नि when we look at profit and when as businesses it's always going to be the priority, but also why circular economy किन मान्छेले राम्ररी हुन्छ नि हेरेको छैनलाई भन्नाले चाहिँ we don't take हुन्छ नि it has not all the benefits of it, all the profits that you can get is not out there, okay? And of course, there is a huge gap in that data because so many businesses have not been adopting this approach. So you never know, like, what profit it's going to get you. So I think that's a huge gap that we have right now. And one thing I'd want to add to this is circular economy. Product change. It's about all the actors coming together to create effective flows of materials and information. As a business, okay, maybe like there's an added revenue model of me extract raw materials. I'll just use this value chain, like I'll source already materials, whatever that's gone out to the public, then I'll recycle korsu and feri korsu bhanari. Like okay, maybe I would have added revenue model, but again, this like fuel garnako lagi, त्यो supply chain, the value chain लाई हुन्छ actually actualize गर्नको लागि चाहिँ एकदम धेरै हुन्छ नि stakeholdersहरुको हात आउँछ के, and that's where we kind of fail, and that's where हुन्छ नि we like it just does not become possible because we are not like हुन्छ नि हामीले एउटा मात्रै सोचिरहेछौं तर त्यो यदि सर्कुलर इकोनोमीलाई एक्चुअली वर्क गर्नको लागि चाहिँ सबै आउनुपर्छ नि टुगेदर एन्ड द्याट्स समथिङ द्याट इज नट बिकम रियली पोसिबल इन नेपाल. Yeah, so I completely get your point of how and then you don't want to move towards it, okay? Because you feel like it's too much work for yourself and for your business, and then it's just not going to be let's say a profitable path.
For the longest period of time, हाम्रो industrial sector मा चाहिँ it's always been cut the secret to profit. Secret to के भन्नु, but then it's always been like cut the cost and increase sales. And then there is a profit. We've always managed to figure out ways to like achieve economies and scale and make like produce as much goods as possible at the lowest cost. Okay? Like tiny भन्दा बेसी छ क्या हाम्रो अहिले like the products we have हुन्छ नि. अनि I think like त्यो जुन चाहिँ हामी we talking a lot about the हामीले चाहिँ product बनाउने चाहिँ जहिले पनि कुराहरू गर्छ and that's what's taught in business schools as well. तर हाम्रो जुन यो product cycle को end को कुरा भयो नि कसरी to bring it back into the system, this is not in the curriculum at all. Okay? And this is not in the curriculum, this is not in the practice, this is not anywhere. Okay? हाम्रो चाहिँ it's just from raw materials to processing to finished goods to sales. Okay? That is where company को काम ends. Okay? And I think like adding the another part हुन्छ नि त्यो product को cycle end भएपछि चाहिँ to bring it back into the system, I think like that part is very necessary. तपाईँले भने जस्तो नि makes sense हुन्छ नि. And I think with time, like with plans and policies, that can be achievable.
So त्यो कुरामा हैन this more production वाला जुन छ नि, to produce more, to sell more, that has always been the model, right? But if we also like like Katisha mentioned, there are so many choices, there's so many companies providing you the same benefit, providing you the same kind of product, so you can make like so many, there's a spread of choices that you can make. Istabelama, companies have a very hard time competing with one another, and that's to make sure that the customers buy their product. पहिला पो एउटा मात्रै मान्छे एउटा हुन्छ नि मोनोपोली भइरहेको थियो, तर अहिले त धेरैजनाको छ नि त. So if a business thinks of it from that angle, that times have changed, हैन, my biggest competitors are like, यदि मैले गर्नु like हुन्छ नि, if I want to have an edge over them, I would have to come up with something that really provides value to the customers. Customers are like यति धेरै choices, like यति धेरै choices, how do they make the right choice? So त्यसमा चाहिँ how we can kind of हुन्छ नि get the circular economy approach चाहिँ कसरी गर्न सक्छ भने customers have and always will be the king, हैन. Customers को onboarding service जुन चाहिँ हामीले गर्छ नि, customer onboarding basically हुन्छ नि create like showing them out the value of the product and having them buy it, customer onboarding. Or to create value at customer offboarding. So when they're on like okay, done with the product, so this particular product like say disposable thing like say disposable product like so if we provide value to the customers, then if we get them to understand as a company what are we doing to it, I know. So we create that kind of emotional bond, we create that connection with the customers. I know it seems like something that okay too like let's say too just based on emotions, but that's what is really going to sell stories to make your audience like really understand the value of your product and the vision that you have. Because world ma what really separates you from other competitors, I think that's something that we really have to think about. Okay, and that's really going to provide you that kind of edge, I feel. And also because customers these days are very conscious and cognizant of their choices, they would go with something that is sustainable. Many customers, I wouldn't say like all the customers, but majority of customers, because now you read stuff, you have that knowledge, and so I think all of that is going to really help them also like make sustainable choices and make one of that they like the environment conscious choices are like the at the biggest priority when they consume anything, when they buy anything. So I think that's something
again,
that we can look into.
यो कुरा गर्दाखेरि अगेन मलाई चाहिँ लाइक कन्ज्युमर बिहेभियरहरूको पनि कुरा दिमागमा आउँछ कि स्पेसली इन अ कन्ट्री लाइक आवर्स हुन्छ नि. अफ कोर्स लाइक आई डोन्ट वान्ट हुन्छ नि मेरो बाइङ डिसिजन चाहिँ गर्दाखेरि लाइक हुन्छ नि आर्टिकमा के भन्छ पोलर बेयर्सहरू डाइङ हुन्छ नि बट देन एट द एन्ड अफ द डे आई एम स्टिल गोइङ टु सेलेक्ट मेरो बाइङ चोइसेस आर स्टिल गोन बी बेस्ड अन द प्राइसेस के हुन्छ नि इफ आई गेट अ सिमिलर प्रोडक्ट इन अ मच चिपर प्राइस I'm gonna opt for that के be it environmentally friendly or not हुन्छ नि बिकज हाम्रो कन्ट्रीमा वी डोन्ट ह्याभ द्याट लग्जरी पनि छैन क्या त्यो एक्स्ट्रा स्पेन्ड गर्न जस्ट टु फिल गुड भन्ने ऊ पनि छैन क्या हाम्रो बाइङ क्यापेसिटी वाइज पनि सो आई थिङ्क एज अफ नेपाल चाहिँ हाउ डु वी गो फरवर्ड यस्तो खाले मार्केटमा होइन यस्तो खाले मार्केटमा चाहिँ हाउ डु वी यु नो ब्रिङ इन सर्कुलर इकोनोमीको कन्सेप्ट
So you're taking up like that's the real world. Okay, Nepal context na anybody. Like of course we don't have that kind of purchasing power, you know. And you'd maybe like contemplate, but you'd make the choice that is profitable to you. That's natural.
Yeah.
And ismati I think the major chunk of it is going to be government support. Okay, that's because we have so many companies that are sprouting, green businesses, circular businesses that are putting those products there. I mean, I search we will definitely find something that is more sustainable products compared to something. Just a big market but because government support, the legislation support and these companies have a really hard time. Okay? And they products are, of course, that's going to be expensive, and that's why people have that law. Your sustainable products are like the premium products are it's very premium price and all of that. So that's natural because you have a purano of a way of producing manufacturing products. The efficiency because they've been around for a long time. They know the processes. Vision is like profit and all of that, so they know how to have those efficient system. But to new businesses they're putting alternative products, sustainable products. They're just starting or maybe like that kind of innovation is just happening. So the products are going to be expensive, and also because they don't have any kind of support, they also have to look into their operation costs. They were say that's just going to get up, and then we're not, and ultimately it becomes a vicious circle that we always opt for the traditional products. But I think as much government support to really promote these products, so I'd say it's going to be very, very important.
Right. Yeah. The economies of scale how businesses are always opting for that one. I don't know, I read somewhere just like circular economy also helps you create that economies of scale. The profit of circular economy, creating that economy scale is larger than the traditional way, linear economy. Do you have any idea about that? How circular economy would help in, actually leveraging two aspects, okay? Because like as he mentioned, that is what businesses, hands down, that is what they look for. That's how they, generate more profit or more revenue.
Yeah, I think it's in a very simple sense, say, about because you are not extracting raw materials, you're using those raw materials again, those products again and again, and fueling it into your system. You make a sustainable path for yourself. Okay, and so the continuity for your business, and then of course, like all the products that you produce, all of that is going to be sustainable, continual resources because I'm linear economy model use garera if we have our business really use the like base their model into that into linear economy, then you once in a while you would like come up with this problem of not having enough resources to fuel your products production. So circular economy, I think the continuous path and that's how you of course that you don't have to think ever again to kind of like you never will be in an uncomfortable position in your business. So I think that's something that circular economy will help.
So you mean like long run
continual use the longer usma because you have that continual flow of resources, I know, and that's something अहिलेको लागि मान्छेहरूले still have not, businesses have not like really felt that need, but sooner or later they will, okay? I know. So yeah. And also I think circular economy it will give you that kind of space to innovate, okay? अहिले भने like अब जुन चाहिँ वेमा बिजनेसहरु ट्रेडिसनल बिजनेसहरु भइरहेछ त्यसलाई अहिले त्यति बेला ठिक थियो नि त अहिले त टाइम्सहरु like we are changing, times are changing हुन्छ नि and यस्तो बेलामा if you don't innovate, if you don't change the way you do your business, then you're not going to be like what do you call it, you're not going to be there in the long run, you know. So it's just very simple maths that to innovate as businesses. I know that's what businesses do, like innovate and make sure that they're always in the market. So I think this could like having that approach is going to be important.
So you worked in I mean tabale भन्नुभयो नि how you started working with Nepali businesses of Himalayan Circular Economy Forum through pani भन्नुभयो. So have you come across any businesses in Nepal who are adhering to the
many
idea
businesses, many businesses actually. So when we were like when we had events and we were trying to explore the concept of circular economy, we had businesses who were like transforming single-use plastics to green roads, which is not really circular, but it's actually seeing value in those single-use plastics which can never be recycled, you know. We had composting factories or composting businesses or recycling factories so there are many businesses I mean Doku Recyclers, I think that's one company I feel is doing really really good, not just for the fact that they're recycling and one of the pioneers in that sector, but they're continually like innovating themselves, providing that education to their public and to the customers, and going into different verticals of waste management, right? So to all of those different businesses are there. So if you, I mean like there is not really dearth of it, but again it provides a lot of opportunity to new entrepreneurs also, because so many other aspects have still yet to be kind of occupied. For example, textile recycling does not happen in Kathmandu, and downcycling recycling, so that's one big opportunity. So there are like businesses who are practicing circularity, but there is also a huge scope for businesses to go circular and to look into this arena.
But like also I think in the choices of materials, like how recyclable is plastic? Because mainly aware that it's like I think 2018 context about like all of the plastics produced, only 8% or something was recycled. So ekdamai kam recycle huncha. Plus I think like it's hard to recycle plastic as well, अनि धेरै चोटी recycle पनि गर्न मिल्दैन.
Because it degrades the value, and then it just becomes like a downcycling.
Plastic it was actually a revolution when it was invented, like something that would not be like pani wouldn't
destroyed.
wear it or
Could be molded,
सक्दैन थियो.
Magic product. Exactly, like plastic at a time transformed the entire civilization that we have today. Okay? And a plastic way, we wouldn't have phones, we wouldn't have the technology that we have right now, we wouldn't have a lot of things. It really helped us advance. But I think now it's like time to like look for a new element or new material to use. Okay? I've heard that aluminium is infinitely recyclable. अनि अरु पनि छ त्यस्तो प्रोडक्ट्सहरु.
I first of all disagree with the fact that we need to look out for a new element, because because plastics ko kurama like like Kritisha said, it was a revolutionary, like you in the boat said, revolutionary product, ani पछि यस्तो त्यसले यस्तो pollute भयो के हैन, and then we all thought of it as the culprit, okay? Oh my god, plastics are bad, don't use plastics. So simply like it's bad for the environment. It is. But why is it like bad for the environment? It's because you're like just leaving it into the environment. You're not like never letting it go back into the system, because plastic is the material that can be recycled. About single-use plastics which can never be recycled. And like you said, so many other plastics which gets recycled, it just reduces their value. So as like conscious citizens, or like first as conscious citizens, I think we can make a choice to really not use those kind of plastics which like are not going to be recycled or are just going to be downcycled first. But the second thing, again, त्योमा पनि अब choices को कुरा हुन्छ purchasing power आउँछ. But the second thing is government legislation, okay, to make sure that हाम्रोमा कति धेरै प्लास्टिक्सहरु बाहिरबाट आउँछ होला, and then packaging materials especially, which never gets recycled. It's just going to be there. No one sees value in it. So why import those kind of materials that is just going to linger into the system and it's never going to be recycled? So governmently, I think if makes a legislation to have sustainable packaging for the materials that are produced here, and to not import materials that do not have sustainable packaging, and to really make sure that जुन पनि manufacturing हुन्छ प्लास्टिकहरु, those are high grade plastics that can be recycled. Then we are fueling the economy with plastics. We're not changing anything, but we're just providing it a sustainable chain. And so I think aluminum, like, yeah, I mean, that's one of the like very important metals that we can look at. But plastic has already been hailed as that the perfect product making, like the material. So why change that? Let's use that, but make sure that मैले use गरेको plastic कता न कतै जान्छ भन्ने, okay? So I think, yeah, again, up त्यसमा पनि there are different challenges, but yeah.
I think we've still stuck to the producing part of things. I think you want to go into the waste management kind of things. Okay, so we produce plastic, then like how does the waste management aspect go into play? Like what is the ideal concept?
Of what, plastic or like
about like the circular economy, like ideally circular economy ma waste management 100% कस्तो हुनु पर्ने हो?
अब 100% भनेर I don't see any system as 100%, okay? It's never going to be perfect, and that's, I think, is good, because it gives us that opportunity to create, be creative, to innovate. Having said that, हाम्रो waste infrastructure, let's talk about that, right? Because I think that's something that we can maybe like put a baseline as well. So हाम्रो waste infrastructure अहिले कस्तो छ त, we whatever waste that we produce at household level, it gets collected by private waste collection companies, right? So they collect the waste, they aggregate it, and they send it to transfer stations, from which all of that goes to the landfill. Right? So that's the very a very quick glimpse of the waste infrastructure that we have in place. अब यसमा के भइरहेछ भने, if you see like a lot of different bridges like let's say धोबी खोला पुल, सेतो पुल, कालो पुलको तलपट्टि, bridges को तलपट्टि, there's always waste. There's always a truck that's there, okay? So real thing happens there, okay? Because these waste gets separated by scrap dealers by waste pickers, and then they just take out like whatever is valuable, they take it, like they maybe like have that let's say kind of transaction with whoever is handling that waste, and they the majority of it, whatever your waste collection companies are collect sabai goes to the landfill, okay? Right? Only 3 to 5% gets recycled. Only 3 to 5%. Most of it just goes into the landfill. So if we really had to build a good waste infrastructure, and yeah, one more point, say why these waste collection companies are not able to recover those materials is because they don't have the space to do it. Okay? There is no center for it. We have a transfer station and then the landfill. However, if we had a material recovery center, whatever waste that is being collected, and we have a material recovery center to recover materials and products that could be then again sent to maybe a recycling factory, then we are actually recovering a lot of different materials. Okay? So I do the 3 to 5% recycle recycle, and then only very a minimal amount would go to the landfill. Hamro waste municipal waste 75% is biodegradable. All of that can be fed into one system or the other. My article it was written that all the biodegradable waste that's just lying around me, on the streets or like just on the roads or whatever, if all of that is going to be fed into the big farms, it is all of that is going to be used, because we have that many pigs in the valley, 50,000 pigs or more. So that is like 75% त्यसमा जान्छ, and then 15% is something that is going to be recycled. So if we then 15% मा at least let's say 8 to 10% पनि हामीले recycle गर्यो भने त then we just send a very very minimal percentage to the landfill. That's the waste infrastructure I think we can look at, and something that seems very very possible. So I don't think looking at a 100% perfect system would be the right way to go about, but looking at a system that is something that is achievable is, I think, more I think more I think it's better to look at.
Recently I heard this interesting news. I'm just pulling it up. So after Brexit happened, UK did not have to, follow the EU pollution rules or so then it is like the second largest plastic waste producer in the world, and it exports 2/3 of its plastic waste, which goes to Africa and etauti. So like, what do you say to these rich countries who have the resources and they literally dump their waste to like poorer countries, So
that is happening, and I think but Picham, I don't know, like there was this rule that they won't be able to send it to the third world countries. I think something like that also came out, but like you said, maybe some of the countries are maybe still doing it. But I don't know, like what I would say to these countries, except for the fact that that's something that they're just wasting it, एकदम environment point of view, they're like not taking responsibility of whatever they're producing and they're just sending it. But I think if they have, like these rich countries have that infrastructure, so many. I don't know about UK as per se, like but I worked with this person who was the head of Switch Asia, like European Union co-program, and European Union man. It's going really good, but again, like you said, just 8% or 12% things gets recycled all over the world, 8 to 12%. So it's still, that's also not something that is really a very good thing to like, with a good outlook for circular economy. But what I feel is because these countries have that kind of infrastructure, they can have that kind of investment. If we just design systems that work. And I think it's going to take time. It's really going to take time to design those systems. But to see that whatever ways that you're producing, the third world countries that they maybe like using it in one way or the other, or like economy like they like one way or the other that your waste materials are used. That's why they're like buying it, Or maybe like most of it also just goes to waste and creates more havoc there. But if they can see value in whatever they're throwing out, if they can design a system that actually takes all those materials and fuels it again back into their system, that's going to be possible. I would say like not all of it will maybe like at a go, but I think just to make sure that they have like that kind of infrastructure because they can actually design it. So I think that's what I would say. I mean, of course, not a perfect solution, but I think that's something that they can do, right?
Well, Azli it just clicked to me. What if like Africa or like all these third world countries actually take in the world waste and make it like the recycling hub of the world? Okay?
Why not?
Waste like recycle, then it can actually contribute to the economy and actually help it boom.
That's what. That's possible. Okay, the only thing is early design flaws, okay? Because like I said, so many packaging is not recyclable. You don't know what to do with it other than downcycle it or maybe like transform it into projects or crafts or that's not a really good use to all those waste materials, right? So design we have a very very big flaw, okay? So if we had like design products that could some way or the other be like recycled or into one or the other systems, then like you said, that would be possible, right? That would be a paradise.
Going back
would actually
to
like contribute to the society in also.
Like going back to what you were talking about, like innovation ko like ठाउँ छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ.
Exactly.
Like if we have such ideas and innovative, if we can do something about it. Maybe hope छ
मलाई अर्को एउटा कुरा नि सोध्नु मन थियो सो अभियसली मान्छेहरूले गो ग्रिन भन्ने बित्तिकै सबै कुरा पेपरले बनाउन थाल्छ होइन हाउ ग्रिन इज पेपर
Of course, paper is not green. Yeah.
एक्ज्याक्टली के गो ग्रिन भन्ने बित्तिकै ब्याग्स आर मेड अफ पेपर एभ्रिथिङ इज मेड अफ पेपर
No,
लाइक गो
bags are
ग्रिन
not
or
made
whatever
of paper. Which bag is
नो
made?
नो नो लाइक द शपिङ ब्याग्सहरू के अहिले सबै लाइक शपिङ ब्याग्सहरू यताउति हुन्छ नि इट्स अल काइन्ड अफ मेड अफ त्यस्तै खाले नि त and you
Fibers
see a lot of cardboard like green
Right,
like
right.
हुन्छ नि brown packaging to make it look greener हुन्छ नि how green is that actually
Not
Yeah, I
really.
think Sadikchya di mentioned about यो कुरा पनि like while working त्यो
Yeah.
के भन्छ how green economy is not circular economy वाला कुरा
Yeah.
while you were working with the people here भन्नुभएको थियो नि maybe
Yeah,
you can
right.
add in to that
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, completely agree. Paper is not the most like yeah, it is not very like it's not a very good solution to everything. And yeah, I think the people have that misconception. Go green, but the paper, but I mean, of course, we have to understand that paper comes from trees, and a lot of it is not man said it paper, but it's not really like they don't again put back trees into the ecosystem. They don't do that. I mean, like, who's to measure that, you know, and who's going to like really see into that? So I think yeah, that's a big misconception. Like, paper is not something. It's not a very good solution. But yeah, like especially in the context of Nepal, a lot of paper that we use is not something that is produced here. Comes from abroad, and like Kathmandu Valley ma, there are not. I think there are just like a few paper recycling factories. One that I stumbled upon was supposedly the first paper recycling factory in Nepal, you know. And what are they doing is they're like whatever waste papers are companies are go through गरेको हैन त्यसलाई shed गरेर त्यसलाई down cycle गरिरहेछ के हैन because that's what's is possible हैन what is like हाम्रो अहिलेको context मा what is possible and with the size of business and then they're producing like let's say lukta paper products हरू यसमा then it becomes a problem because whatever they're producing it cannot be used in a large scale Mero office na what do we use like mainly we use A4 size paper and it has to be consistent it has to have the kind of texture or it has to have the kind of thickness so is not possible with paper that is recycled and it's, I mean like mainly in Nepal mainly in Kathmandu Valley I know so that is something that I feel is could be something that's like I don't know like then something that really could be a part that could be innovated that people or maybe entrepreneurs could really address that because your recycling ko kurama you can't have like a perfect product okay because it takes a lot of innovation it takes a lot of trials to go there to achieve that you know so that's about Nepal ko and Kathmandu ko context ma like Kritisha mentioned like green businesses are not really circular businesses we see a lot of green businesses businesses that have been like focused on eco-friendly products sustainable products but circular economy is not about coming up with products or manufacturing products it's about taking any kind of products and making sure that it goes into the sustainable system right? So there's a difference okay a lot of businesses that we looked at a lot of businesses that we looked at they would like they were like businesses regular businesses or they were coming up with products and all of that but circularity the core ma thiena ke and then circularity making sure that whatever waste that they produce that somehow maybe not their system or goes into another system those are thing like it was all about okay like green products alternative products which is good for a population that does not have alternatives but again it's not something that circularity really looks at and it's like I said harik stakeholders are together and like everyone every person every consumer is not like we're not just cogs in the machine we are what make the machine of circular economy work okay so that's why a lot of green businesses are not circular that's what the very sad realization
now I think we should move to alikati action plan khaliko हुन्छ नि, because as you mentioned अगाडि पनि only 8.6% of the economy is actually circular at this point, होइन? So what can we as individuals or what can we as businesses do?
As a country.
Yeah,
As a country.
like business point of view बाट पनि, like individual point of view बाट पनि, what are the steps that we can take? A policy making त that's something हाम्रो हातमा like directly त is not in our reach नि त as of now भनौँ न. I don't know कतिको इम्पोर्टेन्स दिन्छ, बट लाइक हाम्रो रिचबाट हुने मैले चाहिँ डाइरेक्टली गर्ने भनेको त इन्डिभिजुअली र बिजनेस लेभलबाट भयो नि त. सो त्योबाट चाहिँ वाट आर द थिङ्स द्याट वी क्यान डु?
So if we look at businesses that are practicing circularity, उनीहरूको चाहिँ अब any other business त्यस्तो challenges हुन्छ, regular challenges हुन्छ of expansion, let's say, but other than that they also have challenges of like behavioral challenges. About recycling factories, composting factories have to give the education to their customers that about their value chain, about the model that they're using, the business model that they're using, and also change their behavior. So it becomes a huge challenge to them. That's something that they have to, like, behavioral perception change from the person. For people who are just dumping waste, just throwing it away, not recycling it, not composting it. So that is one huge chunk of challenges that they have to go through. And the second is the challenges of innovation. Again, हुन्छ नि यो भनेको भर्खर भर्खर आइरहेछ नेपालमा, actually in the world पनि हैन. So उनीहरूको they have this constant हुन्छ नि, they constant need to innovate because they have to appeal to the customers and they also have to design effective systems, हैन. So त्यही भएर चाहिँ यो बिजनेसहरुलाई challenges छ. I'm talking about circular businesses मात्रै, and just trying to see where can we go about this, like how can these businesses like address the challenges. But before coming to that, let's also talk about challenges for businesses who want to opt to circularity or adapt to circularity. I think a major challenge, like Aditya said, is businesses focus their profit also. So for them it means changing the way that they're doing business. It puts them in a very uncomfortable position. It makes them makes them feel like they're doing a lot of work, a lot of effort and time into something that is new. And of course that means like extra effort to all of that particular aspect. So I think to see that value is become difficult. Okay, so businesses, new businesses who are like large scale businesses which have been there and which have not been practicing circularity, first I think maybe what we can do is have programs that would help them understand this approach, okay, and make them see the value that they can have, revenue model that they can establish with this circularity. Because until and unless they see value in it, they're never going to like opt for it. Or if they see like a good model to their business, they're never going to opt for it. So I think for them it's going to be education, information, and really like giving them that path. Okay, this is something that you can do, revenue model also. So I think but for businesses which are actually practicing circularity, and the two challenges I mentioned, there is innovation or behavioral changes. And the other challenges that they are having, circular businesses, we need the right kind of legislation, that supports them. Because circular economy, linear economy, circular economy, the transitions on the key is transition here. We can't just be like, okay, like let's snap out of it, let's just move into circular economy. That does not happen. So what as governments Nepal to create a framework for transition for businesses who want to maybe adopt circularity, who want to maybe practice circularity. The transition it's going to be very, very helpful for businesses. So if they lay down the right kind of legislation for it, right kind of framework for it. For example, the first thing that they can start off with is whatever industries produce, like let's say plastic products or like packaging products for their goods, making sure that at least some percent of that is recycled, material, or maybe like whatever they produce, whatever waste that goes out, उनीहरूको लाइक के भन्छ प्याकेजिङबाट at least make sure 50% उनीहरूले त्यो सोर्स गरेर रिसाइकल गर्छ होइन or like some part of their businesses हुन्छ नि it has transaction with recycling factories at least त्यो मात्रै बनायो भने पनि it would really help because sometimes we know what to do okay but if we don't have the impetus to it if we don't have the framework to it we won't do it because I mean being very honest I know environment is not a concern for many because we see news we know it's dire need to do this but we won't do it until and unless there's a force to push us on the right direction so I think government can really do that. The second thing I feel is to promote these kind of businesses which have already been practicing circularity so to provide that kind of tax subsidies let's say because recycling factoryहरुले त एकदमै challenges छ नि त हैन operation cost त छँदै छ like regular businesses but behavioral challenges to educate the public हुन्छ नि and to make sure that they segregate the waste it's too much work okay so if only they get tax subsidies that's going to be like a huge benefit for them and as far as I know recycling factories do not enjoy that kind of subsidies so I think that's something that the government can do. The third thing is to think globally but acting locally. I had this recent seminar where we talked about circular economy and your epiphany clicked was circularity does not happen at big levels. Okay? It happens at cities because it's all about creating that shorter supply chains. It's about efficient use of resources. That happens at local level. So it really gives that responsibility, not just responsibility but opportunity for local governments okay, to work with local businesses and to see where they can plug in because early local governments could really they have that kind of power so that's something that I feel like we can really do thinking globally but acting locally. And finally the waste infrastructure that's something that we can immediately work on material recovery center if that's something that we have then nothing like it because at least more and more materials are going to be recovered, recycled. Now coming to individual level how can we really adopt circularity हाम्रो practices daily practices is something that of course challenges are high it is something that is that means we have to change our habits and like I think audience members here who are listening to this podcast and they've listened to earlier podcasts, they would know how difficult it is to change a deep embedded habit, which means the extra work, okay, a lot of that, they were individual choices many garo cha. However, there is no choice, okay, at the current moment. The way we how we're treading it's just कस्तो वाइल्ड लाग्छ के एज हुन्छ नि ह्युमन्स हामी पुरा जथाभावी हुन्छ नि यहाँ जथाभावी इज गुड वर्ड लाइक जथाभावी हुन्छ नि लाइक युज गर्यो फाल्यो हुन्छ नि वी जस्ट डोन्ट केयर बट त्यो कता न कतै गइरहेछ के त्यो कता न कतै हुन्छ नि एन्ड अप हुन्छ अनि त्यो कता न कतै इट्स गोइङ टु अफेक्ट अस बिकज त्यही नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस नेचुरल इकोसिस्टम त इज सिङ्क फर अल द र मटेरियल्स एन्ड द्याट्स वाट वेयर कन्ज्युमिङ होइन So त्यही भएर चाहिँ I think that's something that is going to come back to us and looking at the scale okay अहिले climate change हेऱ्यो भने greenhouse gases हेऱ्यो भने and not just that as Nepalis we are struggling with air pollution हुन्छ नि we've like अरूमा बेस्ट होस् या नहोस् but air pollution and worse चाहिँ नेपालको हुन्छ नि like continuously भइरहेको 2018 देखि so I think that's something that is urgent for Nepal okay so individualमा चाहिँ what I feel are there two things that we can do. First, individuals there has to be a force or an impetus that pushes them in the right direction. त्यो गर्नको लागि businesses can come up with different schemes like you said rent seeking schemes or deposit refund scheme भनेर हुन्छ it's I think very simple but what it does is PET bottles हुन्छ नि customers pay like whenever they're purchasing a PET bottle of like let's say Coke or हुन्छ नि beverages so they deposit a certain pay and then when they're returning that bottle and then they get refunded but that bottle gets recycled okay so if we have that kind of schemes and if you figure out a way to sustain those schemes then that's going to give individuals that ability to make the right choices. Okay, maybe I'm consuming PET bottles but I'm making sure that it gets recycled so that's something that is businesses go and government go say is really going to help us individuals make the right decision. But second is really being mindful and cognizant of the choices we make. Because like Kunsani, we know that we'll make choices that is more profitable to us. But is it really the right choice? I think that's something that we need to question ourselves. I know it may not be possible for everyone, but for all of us who are maybe listening to this podcast, who know like Kunsani, okay, this is something that I have to do, and who are cognizant of that fact, should make the right choices, should be mindful, I would say, Kunsani.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds
And just making better choices every day, I would say, because I won't say Unsani, I've never used a single-use plastics. I have, but I would make sure that Unsani, not make sure, but I would make sure that I like just better choices every day. Okay?
right.
So I think
Also, do you not think it's also a generational thing? Like हामी भन्दा पहिलाको generation just didn't, care about the environment. हुन्छ नि गाडीबाट केहरू फालिरहेको हुन्थ्यो, प्लास्टिकहरू फालिरहेको हुन्थ्यो.
no, but अहिलेको
हाम्रो
generation पनि
generation
फाल्छ. That's the thing. अहिलेको generation.
कम्प्लिटली छैन त भन्न मिल्दैन.
हाम्रो जेनेरेसन पछि चाहिँ आई थिङ्क द जेन जी चाहिँ
Yeah,
they are, like,
exactly.
एकदमै सुपर कन्सियस अबाउट यस्तो
Yeah, that's
कुराहरू.
what I was gonna get at.
Yeah.
यो generationally पनि त्यो भएको जस्तै लाग्यो क्या.
Because
Because I remember
definitely.
हुन्छ
I
नि,
think- आई थिङ्क यसमा चाहिँ के जस्तो लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ होइन हाम्रो भन्दा अगाडिको जेनेरेसन चाहिँ दे फिल लाइक वेन द प्रब्लम एक्चुली ह्यापन्स त्यति बेला दे नट गर्न बी आउट टु फेस इट होइन. अनि हाम्रोलाई चाहिँ वेन द प्रब्लम स्टार्ट्स टु ह्यापन विल काइन्ड अफ गेट बाई जस्तो हुन्छ. तर फर द
Z.
पिपल लाइक हाम्रो जेनजी हाम्रो दे सी अ इमिडिएट थ्रेट टु
Yeah.
उनीहरूकै लाइक लाइफ टाइममा हुने थ्रेट देख्छ क्या.
Yeah,
आई थिङ्क द्याट्स वाइ दे लाइक सुपर कन्सियस अबाउट
Definitely.
इट.
Yeah, that's true. तर त्यही कि अब यो कुरामा पनि हुन्छ नि हामीलाई कसैले लाइक हुन्छ नि लाइक ओके केही फाल्यो भने पनि अब त्यसको भ्यालु त छैन, अब त्यो फाल्न भइहाल्छ नि भनेर हुन्छ नि त. सो आई स्टिल सी अ लट अफ यङ स्टुडेन्ट्स अल्सो थ्रोइङ हुन्छ नि स्कुल बसेसबाट थ्रोइङ हुन्छ नि.
Exactly.
That's
irritating,
because I
that's
think the
my-
basic लाग्छ नि होइन, basic त्यो the basic rules like not to throw away, but because they don't see that kind of value, okay? हुन्छ नि, and we don't have a system that takes in all that place or हुन्छ नि make sure that कतै न कतै उनीहरूले फाल्न सकोस्, त्यो छँदै छैन नि त सिस्टम पनि होइन. So also I feel like हुन्छ नि a lot of design flaw in for the cities and हुन्छ नि just not
त्यही त यो जेनेरेसनल थिङ भएको भएर पनि हाउ यु टक्ड अबाउट बिङ माइन्डफुल एन्ड अल द्याट हुन्छ नि हामी भन्दा पनि डेफिनेटली द यङ्गर जेनेरेसन एन्ड देयर प्रब्ली गन बी मोर कसियस अबाउट दिस एन्ड प्रब्ली गन बी मोर माइन्डफुल अबाउट इट. त्यसले गर्दा पनि समहाउ इट गिभ्स अस द्याट आइडिया द्याट सर्कुलर इकोनोमी इज द फ्युचर भन्ने जस्तो के.
But hopefully it also adapts to the present because future like shape got the present too, I know.
Definitely. And that's why we have people like you who are like actually working in such firms and so on. Like you coming in and like pitching this idea and this thing does help in so many ways. Actually the ripple effect गर्नलाई पनि help गर्छ नि त. So तपाईले अघि भन्नुभएको awareness हुन्छ नि, awareness definitely अब अलिकति awareness is not the ultimate thing तर to begin with त राम्रो हो नि त. So let's be hopeful, right, for the future.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I think we've covered like a lot of things Aja, about starting from linear economy that we're having right now to circular economy, why it's important, the economic aspect, and also the misconception how circular economy has that environmentalist aftertaste. It's only for recycling and eco matra kura ho bhanera. And then we got back to how we can make such changes. I think it was a fruitful conversation with Sadikchya Singh. If you want to add anything to this as your closing remarks.
No, I think concluding remarks for that, but it's something I really feel is like this is something that I've really like started to practice is हामी जहिले पनि के नराम्रो हुन्छ नि हाम्रो लाइफमा and then we like something ends or relationship ends or something, and we just kind of like pacify ourselves and say okay हुन्छ नि this is just the beginning, हुन्छ नि fine, I'll work on it, the end is just the beginning every time. But I think त्यही नै principle चाहिँ I try and apply on products I see, materials I see all around me. Okay? And then it makes me uncomfortable when I don't see anything as something that could be fueled into or like have the beginning of something. Okay? So I think for all the others, for all the people who've been listening to us, I think it's all about they're making better choices every day and being very, very mindful of the choices we make, because the traditional economy has been going on because we don't really put our minds to it. Okay? There's a system, there's an efficient system, like we just need to like making sure that it happens when it traditional system. But Naya system, modern system of a circular economy, we need to like really be mindful. We need to think, okay? And then put our brain to use. So I think, to just be mindful of the choices you make, and to see products and materials and say kyun na saksa bhanera. And I think that is just going to help us do the right thing. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you so much for coming to our podcast and enlightening us with so much knowledge.
Thank you so much for having. I don't think I did enlightening all of that. I think that's a very big word. But I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm really glad that you both said you wanted to dissect this approach. I hope it was of value to audience who've been listening to us.
Thank you so much. And before we go, we'd like to mention our sponsor, Coffee 8848. So Sadikchya, after this lockdown is over, we're sending you this package of
Perfect.
the cup and the coffee.
Yeah. Oh wow.
From our sponsor
Perfect.
site. Yeah. So if you guys want to get connected to Coffee 8848, we'll be leaving the link below, Instagram handle and everything. So with that, we'd like to end Azuka podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.